What's poppin', real ones? Logan, Murdock here, Howard, Beck, and a few. We get into a really good discussion about Draymond Green. He's in the news for walking off of the court after an argument mid-game with Steve Kerr. We talk about the ramifications of that. What is the future of Draymond Green in Golden State? And how can these two entities go on? Draymond's been doing this for years, but it seemed like this was a little bit of a turning point. And then we preview the entire Christmas slate. You heard that right, the entire Christmas slate. And we give stocking stuffers to every single team. It was a really, really fun episode. Then we get to your mailbag, realonesmailbag@gmail.com, realonesmailbag@gmail.com, realonesmailbag@gmail.com. Make sure you tap in with that every Tuesday. Make sure you continue to put in your questions for next Tuesday, where me and Howard will answer your questions. I think that's it.
The Ringer NBA show is presented by FanDuel. FanDuel's got it all. Same game parlays, quick bets for jumping in live and your way so you could build the bet that fits your play. Plus, don't miss out on holiday offers and surprises all month long. Download the FanDuel app or head to FanDuel.com/RingerNBA to get started. 21 plus and present in select states or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut.
Cliff, play the theme music. What's poppin'? Real ones, Logan Murdock here, Howard Beck there. You know what it is. 'Tis the season. We're here to break down all of the Christmas games. I don't know if we're getting to mailbag. Sorry, guys. But let's get right into it. The first game is Warriors-Mavericks that we want to get into, namely because – and Howard, I didn't know where this was going to be on the slate going into today, and then the Draymond Green news came out. That Draymond basically got into an argument with Steve Kerr at the beginning of the third quarter last night against the Magic. That's not necessarily stuff we haven't seen before. What we did see is Draymond went to the locker room and didn't come back till the fourth quarter and did not play for the rest of the game. The Warriors outscored the Mavericks after that, 41-18, wound up winning the game. And this is interesting because Steve Kerr said that we had it out a little bit. He's made a decision to go back into the locker room. That's all I'm going to say about it. Everything is private. But he also said that he would not have brought Draymond Green back into the game. Draymond said temper spilled over, and I thought it was best that I get out of there. I don't think it was a situation where it was going to get better. It was best to remove myself. There's a lot of thoughts here, Howard. I mean, obviously, I'm in the Bay. I'm kind of close to this. You've been close around the Warriors and Draymond for most of their dynastic run. This isn't new. Draymond and Steve Kerr getting into it. But like I said, Draymond, at least last night, it was given the appearance that he quit on his team. Now, I know he got back to the bench, but that wasn't a great visual for Golden State or him or for the backdrop of this season. What did you think when you saw this? And I don't know where the Warriors go from here. This is not good. It was already bad vibes from both Draymond and the Warriors throughout this season. Draymond has not been playing well over the last few weeks, and now it's kind of boiled over. I don't know where we go from here.
The irony of this, Logan, and Merry Christmas week, Mr. Murdock. The irony of this is that Draymond's struggles had been a lot about his passing, right? Like, he's a really important ball handler and playmaker for this team. He's been their playmaking hub for most of his career, and his turnovers had been a problem. And the turnover that preceded the blow up on the bench was Draymond's only turnover of the night. He was actually having a really good game all around. And look, before we get into like what this may mean, they won the game. They won it without Draymond for the last quarter and a half or so. They beat a very good Orlando Magic team. Granted, it's a home game for the Warriors. The Magic have been on the road a while. The Magic don't have Franz Wagner, but still, the Magic are a tough team. And the Warriors, for a team that was just trying to get back to 500, which they did, that was still a pretty big and pretty important win for them. A lot went right for the Warriors. The Draymond thing, there's so many different ways to interpret this now because we've seen so many versions of this, Logan. I think the most important thing is if I'm going to go glass half full, which you probably saw coming, they've been through way worse than this. way worse. Steve and Draymond alone, and there was the 2016 blow up, which I cannot believe, by the way. It was February 2016. I just looked it up, which means we're coming up on the 10-year anniversary of Draymond and Steve Kerr almost coming to blows in the locker room in Oklahoma City at halftime, and Lisa Salters overhearing the whole thing from the hallway and reporting on it. That was thought to be the breaking point for them. And here we are almost 10 years later. There was the moment in 2018 or 19, whenever it was, that Steve was caught on camera. And I don't remember if we caught the mic or if it was just lip reading, where he basically said, like, I'm so tired of Draymond's shit. That one is already 5-6 years ago, 7 years ago, maybe. They've been through a ton as a team, and those two individually as coach and player. Again, if you're going to go glass half full here, and I'm going to do it just for the sake of argument, because I know probably in the Bay this is blowing up, and I'm a safe 3,000 miles away from whatever the drama is. If we go back, a couple of years where Draymond was seemingly at his true low point, right? The Nurkic and Gobert incidents within a few weeks of each other, and a long suspension, what was an indefinite suspension. He comes back. He says he's, done a bunch of stuff in terms of therapy and everything else, anger management, impulse management, whatever. I did a whole story on it back then. I'd sat down with him, and there was a lot of understandable skepticism from people, because we've seen so many versions of this from Draymond not containing himself, whether it's text, whether it's flagrants, whether it's hitting somebody. The Jordan Poole incident, again, a much, much bigger and more dramatic low point and red flag than anything we saw last night. I wonder if him removing himself and going to the locker room was not, I'm bailing on this team or on this game, but more of this is part of the coping mechanism, or part of the mechanism for dealing with intense conflict. Don't sit in the midst of it and keep going. Get yourself out of it. I'm interpreting there. He did not say that, and I could be completely wrong, and maybe I might be giving him too much credit. That's possible. But it did strike me that maybe, because it's been a few years now, or a couple of years, we have not seen anything anywhere near, thankfully, the Nurkic or Jokic or Jordan Poole incidents. Did Draymond pull himself because that was the most constructive way to settle this thing down, and to settle himself down? That Steve decided not to put him back in the rest of the game, does that escalate this in terms of the tension between them? Or was that just the practical thing to do in the moment? Is that punitive? That's the stuff that I don't think we'll know for another couple of days, right? Because Steve, really, kept himself in check post-game last night. He wasn't going to say anything. And Draymond, to his credit, met with the media, was really calm, and, just matter-of-factly went through it all. This may end up being nothing. This may end up being something, very alarming for a team that is, at 500 and still struggling. I don't know. I'm very curious to hear from just your perspective, but also, like, what is happening in the Bay right now? Are people going crazy about this?
Oh, I mean, it's Christmas, man. Everybody's actually leaving the Bay at this point. It's not. They're going to Tahoe. They're going to Sac. They're going everywhere but here. But I think my interpretation of what happened is, it seems like Draymond quit. Like, it just seems like it, based on and we can, go glass half full, but this has been brewing for years, right? And there was a telling thing at the end of Draymond Green's presser, where friend of the show, Nick Friedel, I believe it was Nick Friedel, asked about the relationship right now as it stands between Draymond Green and Steve Kerr. And the telling point was, Draymond didn't say, oh, it's great, it's amazing. It was, we've won together and we've gone through this stuff before. We've won a lot of games together. But he didn't explicitly say we're in a good place. And if you look at the relationship between Draymond and Steve Kerr throughout the years, you've talked about it just now, but it's been testy and it's been up and down, right? Like, I think about 2016, what happened. Also, Steve was really pissed about Draymond, like, not giving full effort during the pandemic season when he was the only one left, right? Not questioning his leadership, but being disappointed in his leadership during that time. Also, just like everyone else, just being completely exhausted with all of the antics, right? And, Draymond goes through this cycle where he does the antic, he talks about it very candidly in a way that kind of makes him feel like a victim. Like, man, wow, maybe he's turned a corner, right? But then he'll serve the suspension, and then he'll go right back to doing everything that he has done, right? And it's frustrated coaches, it's frustrated players a lot. Me and you texted I think it was a couple of years ago. It's ironic that this happened against Orlando, because one of the other instances that you didn't bring up, but I know we have always talked about, was the instance in Orlando. I believe it was either last year or 2 years ago, where Draymond got an ejection, and the camera goes to an exasperated Steph Curry, right? And I feel like everyone is really, at this point, really exasperated about Draymond Green, right? It's one thing to do it in 2016 when you're winning, and winning cures all wounds. But right now, this is not a good basketball team. Aside from Steph and Jimmy, who probably should taking up the mantle, but he's been complaining about the offense in the Bay Area. Everyone's been complaining about Steve Kerr's coaching, and the fact of the matter is the roster is just terrible. But as it relates to Draymond Green right now, I think this is a real turning point, Beck. I mean, I think that a lot of people in that building are really fed up with Draymond's antics, right? And I think that it's also telling that, he didn't get necessarily his last contract with the endorsement of Steve. It was, he talked to Joe Lacob and got his $100 million, right? Like, his alliance isn't with Steve. It's with Steph Curry and Joe Lacob. Joe Lacob looks at him like a son. And as long as Joe Lacob is going to continue being the owner of the team, it feels like Draymond's going to be there. But the conflict there is, a lot of people in that building are really fed up with what he's doing, because they're not winning, and he's not the player that he used to be. And the locker room, quite frankly, isn't the locker room that is conducive to Draymond being successful, because when he was at his most successful with his antics, you had the Sean Livingstons, you had the Andre Iguodalas, you had the David West. Those guardrails don't exist for him right now. So you get it. You see these things that happen, and instead of them all coming together with veteran leadership, Draymond is the veteran leadership, and now the young guys are seeing this constantly, and it's really toxic right now in that locker room. And I try to be optimistic, but I can't be optimistic with what I'm seeing right now, just for a variety of reasons. But Draymond's outburst, and he just got ejected 2 days ago against Phoenix, right? Like, whether it was warranted or not, his antics are really tearing down this team right now. One of many reasons that are tearing this team down, like the roster, the offseason, all these things. But Draymond is last night was, I think, bigger than we give it credit for. I think it's going to be a real turning point in this season.
I think it's a completely fair interpretation of it, and it may well turn out to be that. I think the reason I'm kind of like, and look, this happened late last night, so I woke up this morning and had to play back all this stuff and say, a thing happened. Draymond, hey, surprise. But honestly, it was less than what I expected after seeing like some headlines and tweets and oh my gosh, and you had texted the chain about it. I'm like, but I think the reason it's not fazing me is that they have been through so much worse. He himself has done so much worse. How could this be the breaking point if the Jordan Poole punch wasn't? If the Nurkic choke wasn't? If the Gobert choke? I can't remember. One was a punch and one was a choke, or one was I don't know. He flailed on Nurkic and choked Gobert. There's a lot of stuff to remember. Stepped on Sabonis. This is so far down the list of Draymond offenses over the years. It's hard for me to believe that a Draymond Kerr, just to quickly put in perspective, if you watch there's a fan who got video on like their iPhone, right? So that's what's circulating. If that had been any other coach and player, you would have been like, whatever, like a blow up in the middle of the third quarter, coach and player yelling at each other a little bit, and then the player leaves. It's because it's Draymond that it's heightened, and that's fair. I'm not saying that we shouldn't say it that way. He has a history, and they have a history. But it wasn't even the biggest coach versus player argument I've ever seen on a bench was. And in the history of this team and these individuals, it doesn't even rate in the top 5 most intense or alarming moments. It just doesn't. So this being the breaking point, I think it would be to the other point you made, Logan, which is there was a lot that this franchise was willing to endure with Draymond because they were winning and because he was really important to them. And it's always been this kind of sliding scale, right? Like, is there a breaking point? What is the breaking point? Well, we're willing to look the other way on this or absorb this or get through this because of everything he means to us. And at a time when you're 500, just barely getting back to 500 last night, that calculus may be different. So I think it's a fair point. I just don't see a scenario here where they're trading Draymond in the middle of the season.
Well, they literally can't. I don't think anyone wants Draymond and to take on that. He has a player option next year.
You're not sending him home. So when we say breaking point, you're not trading him. You're not sending him home or suspending him probably. That would feel like an overreaction to what was a significant, but again, in the grand scheme of things, smaller event. Like, I don't know what breaking point means at this stage. Like, what is?
I don't know, man. They were pissed last night, Howard. Yes, he came on the bench, but inexplicably, he walked. Like, no matter what his reasoning is, he walked off the court, and then they went on a run without him. There's a couple of things to this, though, too, right? This is on the backdrop of the terrible offseason that they had, which is honestly just malpractice. That was one of the worst off seasons that I can have in recent memory for a team that is allegedly trying to contend, right? So you have that. You have the Jimmy Butler trade that has not really worked outside of that run last year. And then the Draymond of it all is, yes, this isn't the worst, even though he walked off the court. This isn't the worst argument that they've had. But, like, it's coming on a backdrop of, like, all of these other things that we have spoken about, right? It's one thing to, like, it's coming on the back of you punching your teammate. It's coming on the back of you almost, like, fighting your coach at halftime of one of the biggest games of your season when you're trying to get 73 wins, right? It's like when you keep taking this person back and they keep just doing stuff, right? And it's different now because of all of the things that have piled up. That's why I think that this is really a turning point, because all of this stuff has also been happening behind the scenes, right? Like this isn't like the first blow up this season behind the scenes, right? So I think that, especially when you look at the pressers, Steve Kerr was not happy. Yes, he said this is a private matter, but he was not happy after this.
Oh, for sure.
And he's been pissed at Draymond before, but not like this, man. And also, like, he's not the player that he used to be, right? Even if you think about the last finals that they went to, he got played off the court, right? He hasn't played well this season, offensively, or you can argue defensively. Now, he's had his moments, but Draymond, on top of the fact that he's not playing well, his work ethic has always been coming into question. I think people are just tired of him. You asked me about, like, what the mood is around the Bay Area. Honestly, I lived here my whole life. I've seen Draymond's rise, this whole dynastic run. It's been a real 180 on how people see him in the Bay Area right now, right? Like, I think it was post Jordan Poole punch, I think the sentiment from the fan base is completely different than what it was, right? Like, he was known as one of the pillars of this dynasty, and he still will always be that. But I think the fan base is really annoyed with him. This is a weekly occurrence, Beck. He continues to do this, right? And he's not putting up the production. Like, people forget, and this is why, like, at home and, like, around people, I always have to have the argument. You know, people say the dumbass argument that Draymond, is he a Hall of Famer? I'm like, yes, he's a fucking Hall of Famer. But I think his antics have overshadowed how great of a player he was and is, because he's done so much of this stuff and really put his team at risk in the biggest moments. Now, they won last night, but that was not a fun game to watch. It wasn't a fun finish because you had all of this clouded over that win. And, you know, they're going to have to reckon with this. I mean, you say there's no suspension. I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't. I'm not trying to report anything, but this was he walked off the court in the middle of the game.
And he came back.
He came back. He said he stretched or did something.
I mean,
like,
guys do, granted, this is different. Guys do sometimes walk to the locker room in the middle of a game, usually to go to the bathroom.
But also one distinction, though, real quick. it wasn't like he was sitting on the bench, which implies Steve wanted him back on the floor, right? Usually when you're in a tunnel, like a timeout tunnel, if the guy isn't sitting on the bench, he's probably out of the game. Draymond seemed like it seemed like Steve wanted him back in the game, and he just walked off the floor, right? Like he completely upended everything.
When Steve says after the game, no, I wasn't going to put him back in, I think that's a pretty clear message there that, yeah, I was pissed enough that once he had done what he had done, whether it was the blow up itself or leaving and going to the locker room, a line had been crossed and he was just not going to go back to him. Not downplaying that aspect at all. There's clearly an issue there that was still lingering post game. Steve was tense in his post game and terse in his post game. But I just come back to the fact that these guys have been through so much worse. I think they'll just move on. I really do. Whether that ends up, in them
they have no choice.
Well, I don't think they do. Right. By the way, they are third in defensive rating right now as a team for the season. And their offense is 20th. So, defense isn't their issue. Offense is their issue. Draymond has something to do with that low offensive rating, his turnovers, his lack of production in general. But without him, they're also not the third best defensive team in the NBA right now. So, they're hanging
and
in.
They also don't have much. They also don't have much offensive scoring outside of Steph. And sometimes Jimmy, when he wants to play offense.
Yeah, back to your point about their offseason, right? They went out and got 80-year-old Al Horford, who's, hasn't played now in weeks. They're just they're really outside of Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond on his best days. There's just not a lot there. Oh, cool, we got a Pajemski game, or oh, cool, they got a Cam Spencer game. There's just not a lot there. They need to trade Kuminga for something useful sooner than later. And that's really their only it's not even a get out of jail free card. It's try to squeeze between the bars of the jail card. I don't know where that's going to get them, but that's really the only move they have left to make in season. And, they're hanging in there. They look like they're, still going to be at least a play-in team. But yeah, I mean, what does Steph look like by the spring? As hard as you're having to ride him because you just don't have enough offense on this roster and you don't have much of a front court.
Just absolute malpractice by the Warriors front office, man. They spent all summer trying to win a negotiation, and the guys that they got was GP2, Melton, and Al Horford, two of which aren't even in the lineup right now. Just crazy malpractice. We're going to look back on this as just one of the worst fall from graces. It's so just disappointing, right?
It's a tough
for a guy like Steph. It's tough. It's tough. It's not what it was. But anyways, let's get to the Christmas matchup: Warriors versus Mavericks. Now the Mavericks are their own level of disappointment right now, right? They have the Cooper Flag future. They kind of just stumbled into that. It's funny. Go read the 52 best moments of the Ringer. 52 moments of this year from the Ringer. You wrote about the Mavericks backing into their to lottery and how they were fruitful despite the fact that they just disrespected the basketball gods and trading one of the greatest players of his generation. But they're here now. They're seem to be a team without any North Star whatsoever. I feel like this is going to be one of the worst games of the day. How do we feel about the Mavericks at this point in the season? It's pretty disappointment. It's just sadness all around. It's going to be sadness. It's at Chase Center. Clay's coming back, but he really should be in a Golden State uniform. It's going to be awkward. It's weird.
Yeah,
it's not going to be fun at all.
I was looking at these games and trying to feel like are there themes around all these 5 games on Christmas Day? I decided this was the angsty game of the day. There's just a lot of angst. Clay's coming back, but Clay's not Clay anymore, and Clay doesn't want to be. Clay went there to go play with Luka and Kyrie, and there's no Luka, and at the moment still no Kyrie. The Warriors are going through it with Draymond. The Mavericks get Anthony Davis back, but they're still kind of a ho-hum team. They just lost to the Pelicans. It's just this is just a seriously angsty game all the way around for both of these teams. Even the Anthony Davis part of it, they've been playing better since he got back. They're 7-7 in the 14 games they've had Anthony Davis. It's just not a very good team. Guys, really quickly pan out for a second though. because this may be the one bad game of the day. And who knows? Between Cooper Flag and Steph, there may be enough like magical moments that this will still be a fun game.
Sure.
But credit to the league. Shout out to Evan Wash for the scheduling on this, because they have the top 6 Western Conference teams are all in action on Christmas Day. And we know the best teams are all in the West anyway. So the best 6 teams in the West and 7 of the top 8, counting the Warriors, are all playing on Christmas Day. The only kind of potentially bad game other than this one might be Cavs at Knicks, and that's not going to be the Knicks' fault. It's the Cavs' fault for being entirely underwhelming.
That's the game that's on when you're opening presents. That's literally just the game that's like it's
for
on.
You,
it might be on
because
mute.
that's 9 a.m. That's noon here, dude. Everybody's already like halfway into their eggnog. The only teams that you could say, like, the complaint every year is always like, well, why wasn't Team X on the Christmas Day slate? The only teams you could make an argument for, and they're good arguments, the Pistons for sure, and you could kind of see coming that the Pistons might have merited this, and actually Pistons at Knicks would have been a lot more fun at this stage. Or the Celtics, but then nobody saw that coming. So like those are the only two like really good Eastern Conference teams or good teams, period, that weren't scheduled. So the league did a good job. So just want to note that. Yeah, this game, Mavs at Warriors. Look, at minimum, we know there's only so many more of these we're going to get with Steph on Christmas. So appreciate it while you can. Cooper Flag, for all of the Maverick struggles, has been pretty freaking awesome. In stretches, has looked like a rookie and has had too much on his plate because they don't have a point guard. But there's upside in this game, Logan. I'm not ready to bury Mavs at Warriors yet. I think this game
it could be fun, but I think it also can be very depressing, right? Like even with its fun arc to it, right? Like I remember looking at this one when the schedule came out, looking at Mavericks Warriors, and I was like, that's kind of odd, right? Like maybe there's a Warriors Lakers. Maybe we get like LeBron and Steph on Christmas or something like that, right? I mean, this just seemed like an odd pairing.
I think they already had figured out the rest of the matchups, knew they wanted the Warriors on, and then said, oh, we got to get the top pick in the draft with all this hype on. So, all right, I guess Cooper Flag is going to the Bay. Yeah,
that's fair. I mean, so we're going to also do stocking stuffers for each team. So what's your stocking stuffer for the Mavericks and the Warriors?
Yeah. I thought we should, give a little gift to all these teams that are bringing us so much joy and angst. Stocking stuffer for the Mavericks. It's either an early return by Kyrie. That's still out there. They might still get a Kyrie Irving appearance at some point this season, or a haul of draft picks for Anthony Davis. And I don't know there's a haul really, but a haul of something for Anthony Davis. That's my wish for the Mavericks. One of those two. What do you got?
I think for the Mavericks, I don't know, man. I just want a whole reset for them. I want them to trade everyone. I want them to trade every single person and get as many picks as they can and just build around Cooper Flag, because they're in this weird place right now where they're not going to win a championship. Even Kyrie coming back just seems sad too. Just wait the whole rest. Like wait for another offseason.
I know. What's
You're
the point?
Not playing for anything. What is the point?
Yeah.
It's just depressing because Cooper Flag is really good, and you want to see him play. You kind of want to see Cooper Flag play on a bad team just so you can see Cooper Flag just kind of come into his own and figure things out. And it's weird because you have so many veterans, right? You see Clay. The only thing that's making him happy right now is Meg the Stallion right now, right? Like the play on the court is not making him happy. You know what stocking stuffer? I want Clay to get traded to a team where he just has to play 15 minutes a game, tops, and then, hit a couple threes and compete. Because like right now, he's I think the biggest disservice that Nico did, other than the Mavs fans, like second or third, is what he did to Klay Thompson, right? Like Klay doesn't deserve this.
No. Send Klay to like the Pistons or somewhere, right? Like get him somewhere where you just get a lot of open shots. Just do it.
I don't even want Klay to go back to the Warriors, right? I know there was that. I don't even want that for him. I want him just to. I want him to be in the playoffs. I want him to just be excited. He don't even got to win a title, but I want good for him. So Detroit would be really fun. For the Warriors, I just want harmony. I just want
peace, love, and understanding, baby.
Peace, love, and understanding, man. So, like, if you got to trade Kuminga to get that, you might have to just trade because they have like a lot of high maintenance young guys. So, like, just get them off the roster and then just Maybe get to 50 wins.
The obvious stocking stuffer for the Warriors is the Kuminga trade, right? And I was like looking at
that should have happened 2.5 years ago.
For sure. They waited way too long, but that's ownership. Like they Laker was too attached to him, Leslie was too attached to Wiseman and too attached to all the young guys they drafted. I don't know who they get. Like, can Kuminga get you Nick Claxton from the Nets? Can you get one of the Mavs guys? If we're going to tear down the Mavs, can you get Gafford or PJ Washington from the Mavericks? People have bandied about Trey Murphy or Herb Jones, but I don't know if you're prying loose any of the Pelicans guys. Pell's on a 5-game win streak, by the way.
Let's go, baby. We'll see.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. The holidays move fast, and Amazon Prime keeps you in control with fast and free delivery. We've all been there. Family plans are fluid. Somebody's not coming. Suddenly they are coming, and you're excited about it. You want to get them a gift, so you hop on Amazon Prime, line that up with their interests, and it's easy to do because Amazon has everything. Prime's fast shipping is always there for you during the holidays, especially when it's last minute, and it just can't wait. Need that last minute gift or holiday essential? It's on Prime. Head to Amazon.com/Prime to shop now.
I want to stay with the Texas team. The Houston Rockets at the Los Angeles Lakers. This is going to be fun. I think this is going to be one of the best games of the slate. It is a 8 p.m. Eastern start. Let's talk about we talk about the Lakers a lot. What do you think? What have you seen from Houston that you like and dislike right now?
First of all, my theme on this one, this is the aging rivals game of the day today.
Rivals.
No, look, Durant versus LeBron is like, we've been doing this since like the early 2010s. And, when these guys went up against each other in the finals in 2012, that was a really big deal. LeBron wins that one. Durant gets his revenge in back-to-back years in 17 and 18 with the Warriors. We don't know how many more times we're getting KD versus LeBron. So I think savor this one again while we've got it. The Rockets have been super impressive. At this moment, 17 and 9, third best offense in the league, fourth in defense, third net rating. As much as everybody was hyped on the Rockets and Amen Thompson and Şengün breaking through, and how's Durant going to look with them, whatever, and but then Fred VanVleet goes down. Are they going to have enough ball handling and playmaking? And what do they do in clutch time? Is this just going to be a my turn, your turn offense? It's all working. Everything, for the most part, is working.
Except against the Kings.
I don't know what that was. Great teams.
Kings have the most random wins this season. It's crazy.
I don't know if anything's more random than the Thunder only having 3 losses, one of which is to Portland. But fair point.
Portland plays hard, man. Portland plays really hard. I like watching Portland play, but
they're a weird team. I'm just super impressed by the Rockets. Like we talked about in the preseason, like how was Amen Thompson going to handle playing next to an icon of the game like KD, and was that going to hurt his growth somehow because he's going to be in his shadow? Is he going to defer too much? Like everybody's kind of finding their place on this team and in this offense, and I thought they would be just as tough as they were last year. I thought they might miss a little bit of Fred VanVleet's just steadiness and Dylan Brooks's edge. But they have just kept marching on, and KD still looks phenomenal. The other night, played 40-something minutes the other night. Dude is just eternal. It's great to see. So really impressed with the Rockets. We know what the Lakers have been doing. We've talked plenty about them. I just think that for all of the Western Conference standings, jockeying, and everything else, this game is still about we get to see KD and LeBron go at each other again on Christmas.
I'm gonna say this, man. It's really cool to see KD be the OG of a team, like just a straight. It's like KD and the little homies. That's literally every time I watch the Rockets, it's like KD is one of the most adaptable superstars that we've ever seen. Right, like he can really fit into pretty much any offense. I remember talking to asking Amen Thompson, like, yo, what is it like playing against him? And he was like, or playing with KD. And he was like, KD just said, do me, and he'll figure out the rest around me, right? And I think that you've seen that. And I think that you've seen, whenever I watch the Rockets, they are like 10 seconds in a cloud of dust, right? Like who it's an equal opportunity. We don't have a point guard. Okay, Şengün, you're just going to lead this offense and just go to the cup, right? It doesn't look great, but hey, whatever. Reed Shepherd, I mean, shoot your threes, figure it out. We're just going to it's one of the most LA Fitness-ass offenses I've ever seen, and it works. Like, what I loved about this, and I said this earlier this season, where is their offense is literally, okay, we don't have Van Vliet, so what? We're just going to put our foot on your neck. It's not going to be conventional. We're just going to go to the cup, and then we're going to get opportunities outside of that. It's been really good to see. Yeah, man. I don't know. I think as a stocking stuffer, though, they still need a point guard. I think that's the biggest thing that they need.
Yeah.
Even with Reed Shepherd being good, they need someone that's going to be able to, kind of settle them down. But the thing is, I don't know which point guard is out there or if that point guard actually exists in this modern NBA. But there's a lot of times where I see their offense and I'm like, okay, if a team just says, fuck this, we're going to just strap you down defensively, they don't necessarily have an identity other than we're just going to pass the ball to our great offensive players and see what happens, right? There doesn't seem like there's necessarily a plan for their offense. And I do wonder if they do play a really good defensive team that they're going to strap them up because they don't necessarily have a plan, right? Like when I see Amin play point guard, he doesn't necessarily have a plan with the ball other than I'm going to go to the cup with this. So that's the thing that I would want to see them. I think that they need a point guard for real. Like I know that they've tried to push that away, but it's clearly obvious when you watch them on a night-to-night basis.
They've played well enough that I've started to believe that maybe they can get away with it, right? But it's different in the postseason. The good news is
what they're going to do. Real quick. What they're going to do in the postseason is Durant's going to play the de facto point guard, and then that's going to take away other opportunities for him offensively, right? And then on the defensive side, they're going to target Şengün and they're going to target KD, and that's going to be a problem.
All right, but the counter to that is I worry about a team that's like too, the heliocentric offenses, right, where it was James Harden at his peak, or even like the Knicks the last couple of years where it's like, it's just going to be Brunson, down the stretch over and over, and you can really try to take the ball out of his hands or crowd him. But with the Rockets, between Şengün and Amen Thompson and KD, and let's see how many more steps between now and the playoffs Reed Shepherd makes, like there are a number of ways you can go. So it's not quite as predictable or where you can just hone in on one guy and shut him down or take him out because they have other places they can go. They don't have that playmaker and that offensive organizer that we're talking about without Fred VanVleet to kind of get all that moving and in motion. But I don't think it's just throw the ball to KD and he's going to ISO and then they're going to take him out of it with there are outlets there. There are release valves there. So they might be able to get away with it. My stocking stuffer for them was simply going to be Dorian Finney-Smith, who was supposed to be one of the better signings of the summer, and presumably was, and may still be, but had left ankle surgery in June and has not played yet. There's some buzz about him possibly returning in January. And no, he's not Fred VanVleet, and he's not a point guard, but he's a super versatile plug-and-play front court player who can hit open threes, play D against a lot of different types of players and make them that much tougher and deeper. And in the end, maybe that, makes up for whatever they may be lacking on the other end.
Yeah, I mean, as impressive as the Rockets are, they inherently have a ceiling. I think their path to the finals is like avoiding Denver and OKC or maybe getting them like later. And I don't think they're beating OKC. I don't necessarily think that they're beating Denver in 7 games, but
put San Antonio in that conversation too, by the way.
We're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about them next. That's a great segue.
But you're right. When we talk about who the Rockets have to get through, when we started the season, it was, are you good enough to beat Denver or OKC? I think we got to put the Spurs in that question.
All right, well, let's have the conversation now. Let's talk about the Spurs. They're going to play OKC. It's weird because they're playing OKC tonight. If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably going to be like, well, OKC. They're going to play OKC at home tonight, and they're going to play OKC, I believe, at OKC on Christmas Day. Wemby's return, you kind of saw not only the addition of Wemby in the NBA Cup, but just uniquely how the Spurs can play OKC defensively. It's been a while since I've seen OKC get strapped up the way they did in the NBA Cup, and that was one of the greatest games this season. This is going to be like a budding rivalry, right? Like OKC is supposed to be the next it team. They are the it team, but they're the team that might be primed for a dynastic run. But it seems like Beck, San Antonio was like, wait, hold on, man, hold on, we're here too. Like, what have you seen from San Antonio, and like, what do you think they can be for this backstretch of the season?
By the way, the theme for this game, this is just the game of the day, period.
Oh, absolutely.
Forget angsty game, rivalry games, aging vets game, whatever. This is just game of the day, period. I would watch these two teams play 100 times in a row, and it's going to feel like they played 100 times in a row because it's going to have been 3 times in about 10 days. Look, the rivalry's already there. Forget budding rivalry. Victor Wembanyama, after they beat the Thunder in that cup game, talking about like this little like subtle dig where he's talking about he's just proud to be part of a team that plays ethical basketball. And like nobody just says that without intent. When the team you just beat is the Oklahoma City Thunder, where they're constantly being accused, Shea specifically, of something less than ethical basketball. By the way, I clicked on a single Instagram video the other day about somebody breaking down why they don't like Shea's game and the foul drawing and all that. My entire Instagram feed is now nothing but those. Thank you, Instagram algorithm. Good Lord. A lot of people apparently don't really enjoy watching the Thunder because of Shea. But Wemby versus Chet is already a thing. Wemby and the Spurs brand of basketball versus the Thunder brand, however you want to define those things. And I'm not one who's criticizing the way the Thunder play at all. I enjoy them, but that's a thing that's out there. And it is a conversation among NBA fans. And these two teams, based on their profile and their age, are going to be going at each other for the next 5 to 10 years, potentially. And like that they are matched up on Christmas. Again, credit to the league. This was a great call on the schedule, even if we didn't have them already facing each other in the cup, which we obviously couldn't have known what was going to happen. Love it. Love all of it.
Yeah. I got to push back a little bit. I've seen OKC play quite a few times this season. I think they're awesome to watch. I think they're great. Like I think Shea's awesome to watch, and I think he's great too. I think he's leveled up on his passing. I think that it takes a real skill to try to draw fouls, bro. Like I don't know what else to say. It is what it is.
People are just being bitchy about it, frankly. It's a pretty annoying of all the like general themes around the NBA this season or over the last couple of years. That one's just annoying. Just stop complaining, folks. Like we've seen more egregious foul baiting in NBA history, and we have seen players who are more manipulative than this. I don't quite understand all the backlash toward Shea. I'm just reporting that it's out there, and my entire fucking Instagram feed is now full of it because I clicked on a single video.
You're bad. You better click on some other videos. Do they need stocking stuffers? Do these teams need gifts?
These teams probably don't need a damn thing. I guess the Spurs, if I was going to give them a stocking stuffer, like maybe one more 3-and-D wing. They're 17th in 3-pointers made per game. They could use a little bit more juice there, but my gosh, they've got so much firepower as it is. They can win other ways. So like I'm reaching to even find a stocking stuffer for them. And the Thunder, like, their stocking is already like burst at the seams, right? Like everybody was giving them stocking stuffers of draft picks.
They
for
have
years.
A stocking of draft picks.
That's all it is.
Just completely draft picks. They're fine.
Including, of course, we should note for the umpteenth time, at this moment, they would have the Clippers pick, which is positioned 4th in the 2026 lottery. The Jazz are in 8th right now, so they would keep their pick. But if the Jazz slip to 9th or below, either by record or because of the lottery,
which is still in play,
would go to them too. So yeah, still in play. Insane.
Now let's talk about the Timberwolves and the Nuggets. Timberwolves they're a fun team to watch. I love it. They're like my Peacock special. Every time I see them, I always seem to watch them when they come on Peacock. It's like the West Coast game. They're fun to watch, but like I just feel like they have a bit of a ceiling around Ant, because like I feel like every time I watch them, I'm like, damn. When it comes to the playoffs, their offense is just gonna be Ant. and he's going to get defended very well. I know Bones Highland has been playing really well this season, but I don't know if he's a playoff secondary scorer. So I feel like they're one of my favorite regular season teams that are going to give me heartbreak when the postseason comes. Nuggets are, I mean, they have injuries, but the Nuggets are the Nuggets, man. As long as Jokic is on the floor, they are going to be a juggernaut, and they're so in tune with their offense, and they have so many play. Like when Gordon gets back, and they have their full complement of players, they're going to be fine. But what do you think going into this game? This is going to be like the sneaky good like night game that always happens, right? You get when you get all your presents and you're kind of like tinkering with your presents. You got all the lights. I used to have this when I was a kid. I used to this is when I was sneaking a room like one of the like my grandma's man caves or whatever, and just watch this last night game. This is the game that I like to watch.
Sneaky good game at 10:30 Eastern time.
Yeah, but that's y'all. That's West Coast. West Coast is just fine. It's perfectly fine. It's right before we go to sleep.
This is the Red Bull game of the day. This is the Red Bull, Mountain Dew, and a jug of your favorite coffee. I just want to talk about Jamal Murray for a second, because we talk so much about Jokic. This is a team that's down 2 starters. Christian Brown and Aaron Gordon are out. The Nuggets are cruising along, 21-7, on pace for their first 60-win season with Jokic, by the way. You realize they've never cracked 60?
Well, yeah, because they get lazy at the end of the year. They're like, we'll be fine.
Yeah, speaking of caffeine, that should be their stocking stuffers, just like a big case of Red Bull or something for the late part of the season when they usually are kind of like hitting the snooze bar and like,
where's some Taco Bell?
Wake us up, wake us up in late April. Do you know the last time the Nuggets as a franchise had a 60-win season, Logan Murdock? I looked this up.
09.
You got to go back a lot further. They were still in the ABA.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They've had 2 60-win seasons, 74-75.
Wait, that was your first year on the beat, huh?
Stop it. 74-75. They won 65 games. They won 60 the next season, have not cracked 60 since. Their highest with Jokic was 57 wins in the 2023-24 season. But Jamal Murray, he's having his best season. He may actually finally make the All-Star team and maybe even All-NBA for the first time. Like, he's been that guy, like, best player not to be an All-Star in his career of this era. 25 points a game, career high. 6.6 assists by a tad, a career high. 4.3 rebounds, career high. Shooting 45.8% from 3, by far a career high. He's shooting career high from 2. He's also got career highs in free throws attempted and free throws made. Jamal Murray's just balling. He's been fantastic, and everything gets overshadowed when you're in Jokic's universe. So I just wanted to note that. The Nuggets have been fantastic, every bit as good as we expected, and that's despite the fact that Aaron Gordon hasn't played in weeks and Christian Brown's been out, I think, even longer than that. So, this is, for the Timberwolves, back-to-back years in the conference finals. And they have been great, and they have been one of the teams that could actually kind of mess with Jokic a little bit because of their wealth of bigs. But I feel like every time these teams meet each other, this is a barometer for the Wolves in particular, right? Yeah. I don't care how many times you've beaten the Nuggets in the past. Like, this is kind of your testing ground if you're Minnesota.
Yeah. What are your stocking stuffers?
Fountain of Youth for Mike Conley. Can we find it? I mean, it's out there somewhere, because if it's not that, then they need a point guard. I mean, you talk about, like, you wanted the Rockets
Beck,
to get a point guard.
The
Wolves need one first.
But the thing is, I think about this with the Rockets, and I think about the Timberwolves. What point guard is really going to help them at this point, right? Like, there's smoke that I forgot. Was it Lou Williams or somebody said that James Harden should go back to Houston? And I'm like, no, stop. Like, that's not going to help that roster.
Not the right fit
at all. Does James Harden go to Minnesota? No, that doesn't seem to be a fit either, right? Like, who are the point guards right now? Like, the Celtics aren't getting up off of Derek White, who would be, I think, a perfect complement. I think in Houston, he would be similar of a complement in Minnesota, but he's not available. Like, I just don't know what these two teams do in this point guard market.
this is never going to happen, in part because of circumstance, probably, and in part just because of salary. I looked through this a couple weeks ago trying to figure it out, but like Drew Holiday would be perfect, right? You're looking for like a more functional version of Mike Conley, right? Somebody who's a consummate team player and offensive organizer, veteran who has seen it all, done it all. Drew Holiday, multiple-time champion. Like Drew Holiday would be perfect there. Maybe CJ McCollum doesn't bring the defensive aspect of it in the same way, but can organize your offense, another veteran presence type. But again, salary issues and everything else. Like I don't see how you could pull it off. They've, I think, been linked. I think Jake Fisher reported today that they're among the teams that are keeping an eye on Colin Sexton in Charlotte. I don't like Sexton's not that type of point guard. He's more of just a scorer. But, they do just need another guy who can just handle the ball, period, reliably.
Yeah.
And, they're young guys who they've taken the last couple of drafts, haven't been able to handle that yet. So fountain of youth for Mike Conley or a younger point guard. And my stocking stuffer for the Nuggets was simply some combination of Red Bull and Xboxes. Just something to keep them entertained for the next few months while they're waiting for the playoffs, because they do seem to get bored right around March every year.
You're like, they lost to who in April? Like, what? They lost to the Kings and the Kings had no one? How did that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah. But they also, like, the thing that I think that the Denver Nuggets have is they have a chip on their shoulder this season, right? Like, especially after the way last year went, how they lost to OKC. You could see this. I haven't seen a chip on their shoulder, even when they were winning titles quite like they have right now. So, we'll see what happens. Let's go to. Are you going to this game, Knicks Cavs?
I don't think I'll be going to that game. No.
Okay.
I spent 16 years as a beat writer, Logan, as you may know. I spent a lot of Christmases in NBA arenas because it was what the schedule called for. It was what the job called for. So when you have the option to just watch from home, it's kind of pleasant. So, yeah, I'll be watching Cavs and Knicks from the comfort of my couch.
I get that. The Cavs are just so disappointing this season, in all ways. What do you hope for the Cavaliers? You've seen them more than I have, just being in the Eastern Conference. Like, what do they have to do to find their mojo again? Because it seems like they've hit a ceiling, and I don't know where they go from here, right? Because I think that they need to pivot. They're the consummate great on paper team, but when it's time to actually be a great team, they always seem to fold. And now it seems like in the regular season, they've just cratered. So, like, what gives with the Cleveland Cavaliers?
There's a lot of different ways to interpret this or spin this. There's no way to spin the record and the results, right? You were supposed to be the best or one of the two best teams in the Eastern Conference, and you are just kind of trudging along right now, 16-14. 10th offense, 16th in defense, 12th net rating. They are the epitome of meh right now. And I think if people want to interpret it and say like maybe chemistry issues, or there's been some like minor buzzing about maybe have they already tuned out Kenny Atkinson, like that seems a little far-fetched to me. I've heard people speculate on it, but like it's way too early for that. They have been racked by injury. Now, when they've been healthy, they've still been a little meh, frankly. But look, Max Strus has yet to play. Darius Garland's played in 14 out of 30 games. Jared Allen's played in 19. Sam Merrill has played in 13. Larry Nance Jr. has played in 16. Last year, their 5th, 6th, and 7th players in minutes played, total minutes for the season, were Sam Merrill, Ty Jerome, and Max Strus. Sam Merrill has been really limited, 13 games, as I said. Ty Jerome, of course, left and hasn't played anyway. And Max Strus hasn't played. So, like, and that trio was also their 3rd, 4th, and 5th best players in three-pointers made. So they've lost a lot of just rotational guys and some defense and a lot of three-pointers, and they are way down in three-point shooting this year. They're shooting 34%, 22nd in the league. They were 2nd in the NBA in three-point shooting at 38% last season. So if they just got their three-point shooting in order, they'd be in a lot better shape. But yeah, just a real muck of a season right now. I think they have to wait till they get healthy before you start thinking in extreme terms, like, is it time to break up that big four? They've got the highest payroll plus tax burden in the league. But before you start talking about trading Darius Garland, who's starting to play a lot better, that toe issue had been lingering for a while. Before you start talking about trading Jarrett Allen, like I think you got to get healthy, get your big four back together, and Max Strus, and then see where you're at. DeAndre Hunter's shooting will rebound. I just think that
they are who they are, though, man. Like, you know,
in the playoffs, I agree.
Healthy,
in the playoffs, I agree. Right? Like you said it, classic on paper team, and in the playoffs, they turn
are they
to
the
dust.
new Atlanta Hawks? Are they like the new 08 to 2016 Atlanta Hawks?
Their talent level is higher than those Hawks teams that you're talking about. I think that's a little too disrespectful.
One of those Hawks teams won 60 games, though.
Yeah, that was one of the weirdest 60-win seasons of all time. The Cavs are Donovan Mitchell's better than anybody that was on that. That was like Jeff Teague, Paul Millsap, Al Horford, Kyle Korver, right? Like, come on.
That was the LA Fitness team that just has dudes who know how to play basketball. They're not necessarily stars. They just know where their spots are. They know how to get the screens. It was, that was a fun team until they, got beat by LeBron.
I've been skeptical of this Cavaliers team ever since that first year. So in the Donovan Mitchell era, right? He got there in 2022. And I've been skeptical of them ever since they just got their butts kicked by the Knicks in the first round of the playoffs that year and just looked like deer in headlights, especially in the games at the Garden. So I was looking this up. In the Donovan Mitchell era of the Cavs, they are 7-10 against the Knicks and 3-5 at the Garden, including the playoffs. They did win both games at the Garden last year. And went 4-0 against the Knicks last year. I think the Cavs couldn't lose last year in the regular season. But I think it's fair to still have doubts about them as a postseason team, given their flameouts the last couple of years.
Yeah, let's talk quickly about the Knicks, man. Mike Brown. No? Transformative season? Are you buying it?
Yeah, huh? I'm buying it. I mean, transformative is too strong of a term for a team that was already one of the best in the Eastern Conference. And
they seem to be loving this change. The Knicks team seems to be loving it, right? Like it seems like they are enjoying this new Mike Brown, right? Who seems to, and it's early, right? Like me and you have both covered Mike Brown in different capacities, right? But it seems like he's kind of taking his foot off the gas in a good way. We'll see how long that sticks.
This is a classic, and this cuts across all sports. It's the classic version of, when you had the hard driving old school coach and you flip to the player-friendly version. And I know Mike Brown has a lot of old school qualities to him, but he is a much kinder, gentler, and more jovial and communicative and enjoyable version. Like compared to Tibbs, like Tibbs was just a constant stick in the mud, and there's only so much Tibbs anybody wants to listen to after a while. We've seen this over and over in his various stops. Mike Brown, like it's a whole different vibe, but also fundamentally, functionally, they have diversified their offense. They have, like Jalen Brunson's still playing a lot of minutes. He's still taking a lot of shots. He's still scoring a lot, but he is not the only one with the ball in his hands in critical times or throughout a game. Mikal Bridges is getting more ball handling responsibilities. They've got a little bit better bench, so that's helped. They're playing like guys like Tyler Kolek. Kolek couldn't get off the bench last year, and he was a rookie, so maybe he was just more ready this season. But Mike Brown is willing to go with a deeper bench. He's willing to, the offense has more dynamism to it. There's more ball and player movement. It took them a little bit to get used to it. And I know you and Raja went deep on the Knicks on Friday, so we don't have to get too far into it. But I think Mike Brown has been Tibbs did an incredible job for them. And I still don't know to this day, was it the right time to fire Tibbs or to make a coaching change? Was it justifiable? People can argue that till the end. But the early returns on the Mike Brown era, I think, are really good. The Knicks are second in offensive efficiency right now, 14th in defense, 4th in net rating. They're on pace for 58 wins, which would be their highest since the early 90s. They have not cracked 55 since the 1996-97 season. Even. Last time they got 60?
Yeah, or 58. So it was in the 90s, right?
They're on pace for 58, so that would be the highest since they got 57 in, I think I just said it, 96-97.
It was 96-97.
All right, their last 60-win season was, take a guess.
93.
92-93. There you go.
Ooh! Look at me. I'm out here, historian out here. Check me out. Okay, you know what? I didn't know we were going to do this, but let's get Clifford here. For mailbag time, see if we got some questions.
Fellas, what's good, man? Thanks for calling me up from the bullpen. Howard, how we feeling? Logan, how we feeling? Let's get to the mailbag. Let's get to some questions. Talked to Howard Beck earlier today. Let's get to this first one here. This is from Kayla Liss. Understanding stats in a higher scoring era. Hi, big fan of the pod. Been listening since the first episode and haven't missed one since. During the scoring boom, how should we contextualize stat lines when we compare them across eras? For example, when we say the only people to average X many points for X many games were Jordan, Oscar, and Jokic, how should we understand that stat when people are scoring more points on a regular basis? Keep it up, Kayla.
That's interesting. I think that you got to kind of have the context of what the game was like, right? And I think it does ebb and flow. Like Oscar's time, it was still a wide open game. It was kind of in a weird way like the game is now, but without the 3-point line. And so you were able to get more points, steals, rebounds, and assists, right? Same with Wilt Chamberlain. So you got to just kind of take it with the nuance of what the game was at that point and then compare and contrast based on that.
It is really tough. And I think about this a lot because records are falling, it seems like, all the time. Like every year you have 3 teams with the highest efficiency, offensive efficiency in NBA history, right? Like those numbers just fall constantly because of the pace of the game and because of the 3-point explosion in the last 5 to 10 years. It's really hard to it was always hard to compare eras. The style of the game changes, and obviously athletes over time evolve, training methods, medicine, everything. So it was already difficult, but no, this is a great question from Kayla because I think about this a lot. Records get obliterated. Guys in the modern era looked like just, giants compared to the players of yesteryear. And I mean that figuratively, not literally. It's just really hard to put anything in context anymore. I feel like we need, I don't know if anyone's created this, one of you enterprising analytics folks out there, if this does not already exist, a website that actually just normalized everything, right? Adjusts for everything, for pace, for era, for the 3-point shot. And just, I want to be able to compare, what it meant that Oscar averaged his triple-double in the early 70s versus whatever the version of today is. I want to be able to, we talk about people either go with Michael Jordan would have just killed in this era or he would have somehow been diminished, which is ludicrous. But I would love to have at least the statistical balancing where we could compare across the board. It still won't answer the question, right? But it's a thing. Plus, we also have Basketball Reference and StatHead, which are great tools, but which are abused constantly, especially on social media. So if you're one of those people on social media who's constantly going to Basketball Reference and StatHead and doing this player is the first guy to ever average exactly 21.2 points, 12.3 rebounds, stop doing the thing where we just set all the parameters to make the thing that your favorite player just did the first time in history. Stop it. It's annoying.
Hell yeah. Next question.
Let's get to another question here. This is from Kidder Lindley. Would love for you guys to each identify a player who was never any good in the NBA that you are still somewhat shocked never panned out as a star in the NBA. Players who got injured not included. Kidder Lindley.
Go ahead, Beck. I mean, I know you saw this question first. I'm thinking right now.
I saw it earlier and I'm still thinking. Shout out to Kidder, who I spoke with over the weekend. He's a senior in college working on his thesis, so we chatted a little bit. Can I go right in your backyard? Can we play the Anthony Randolph card here?
Oh my goodness, bro! Were you at that? Were you at that summer league?
I was at that summer league, but also Anthony Randolph was part of, I believe, the David Lee sign and trade. So
yes.
he landed here in New York when I was still covering the Knicks, and everything about him, go folks, if you don't remember Anthony Randolph, go back and look at the clips. And he was supposed to be another Kevin Garnett type, right? He was tall. He was 6'11", long range. He could handle the ball, could do he was supposed to be one of those revolutionary unicorn type bigs, and it just never happened. But yeah, we all believed at a certain point. For a while.
I'm trying to think, man, like who I was just like, this dude is going to be awesome. Like, it's tough because I don't know. There are guys that exist like this, but I don't know. Like, I don't know. You got Cliff? Are you looking? Which one
I got,
you got?
No, I got one. Evan Turner for me.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Like, Evan Turner was like a solid NBA player. Like, not saying, he was trash or nothing like that. No, but first of all, nobody's trash that makes it to the NBA. Evan Turner was a solid NBA player, but when he came to the Sixers, like, that was coming off the Ohio State, the run. He was going crazy, college player of the year. And, he came to the Sixers. It never truly fit. But then they really weren't trying to win games anyway. So he was always kind of, on borrowed time here. So Evan Turner for me.
You know who's somebody that, like, I was like, why isn't this person better? Because he has spurts. Marcus Thornton. Does anybody remember Marcus Thornton?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
From the
Yeah.
Kings? Yeah. Where, like, on random nights, he would get fucking buckets, bro, and, like, literally lead the Kings to a win by himself. And this was on teams with DeMarcus and Tyreek Evans. And I remember watching him just like, yo, why am I seeing him ball out, but why isn't he one doing it consistently? And why are people seeing this? Like, Marcus Thornton is a dude right now. And he went to another team and didn't get as many shots. And it really went into the theory that Roger always says is somebody got to, there's a finite amount of points that people got to make. And he was the one that was making all the lion's share of the points. But he would, like, go on heaters. So dude, Marcus Thornton would be my guy.
Tyreek Evans, who you just mentioned, would have been another one in this category, actually, right? Beat Steph Curry and Brandon Jennings for Rookie of the Year and looked awesome. Big guard, could do everything.
Philly.
And he flamed out quick.
You know what's funny? I remember being in the locker room and DeMarcus, like, he was talking to the great Marty McNeil. And he said that he pointed at himself and he pointed at Tyreek Evans. This was after a game and said, our jerseys are going to be retired here. That didn't age well. But yeah, Tyreek Evans, I think after that rookie year, like, remember he had like the LeBron comparisons during that rookie year, and then like he just never got a jump shot. He got some personal issues and stuff like that, but yeah, he had that one good year.
Yeah,
I'm sure Steph is kicking himself like, damn, bro, like, I would have just played, a couple more games really, really well. I should have got that, but yeah. We have one more, is that it?
If y'all want to do one more, we could do one more.
It's Christmas. Let's do one more.
It is Christmas. Let's do this question here. This is from Andrew Gomez. Day one listener, Andrew from Chicago. I'm going to keep it simple, please. What do my Bulls have to do to be good and relevant again? I feel like they have to have a new owner in order to see a big difference. Jerry is satisfied with just being a mediocre playing team that just sells tickets to make money but doesn't care about the product. That is from Andrew Gomez. Shout out to Chi-Town.
And you say Shot City. I don't know, man. Get lucky with a draft pick. I don't know, man. It's really tough. Like, the Bulls are like just consistently just average now, and it sucks, man, because they've been living off of that Bulls run of the '90s for decades now, right? They had the Ben Gordon teams, they had the Joakim Noah teams, they had the Derrick Rose teams. I think Derrick Rose getting hurt and not really living up to his full potential really messed up a run. I don't know if they win a championship necessarily, but that they're still recovering from that in a lot of ways. I don't know. Get lucky. Sorry. Beck, you got anything more profound?
I don't know about more profound. The first step to not being a perpetually mediocre team, by the way, I did this exercise a few weeks back too. I was trying to figure out, are the Chicago Bulls the most mediocre team of the last decade, the most consistently in the middle? And from what I was able to figure out with just, jotting down records and rankings and everything else over the course of a 10-year span, I think the Chicago Bulls are the most average NBA franchise of the last 10. And by the way, that could be good too, because there are a lot of teams that are the most shitty NBA franchises that are perpetually just losers. They've at least been consistently in the middle. You know how to get out of the middle? Stop being satisfied with being mediocre. This first step to not being a perpetually mediocre team is to decide that it's okay to occasionally lose for the sake of winning later. Stop being intentionally mediocre, Chicago Bulls. This has been their agenda for the last decade. They are not just satisfied with, but seem to be actively aiming for every year to finish somewhere between 7th and 10th in the Eastern Conference play a play-in game or two, and have an early summer. That's it. That's the agenda. They have signed the kind of players who trap you there. They have consistently made the kind of moves that keep you there. And congratulations, Sacramento Kings, on deciding to just be the West Coast version of them, I guess. I will say,
I think you disrespected the Bulls by saying that. I get what you're saying when they have all the former Bulls, but Jesus,
I'm
saying, not giving the Kings even that much.
And look, Modest Buzelis shows flashes and is really intriguing and a really fun player. And the Caruso-Giddey trade has actually worked out pretty well for them. Giddey's been really good. They've got some pieces now. Kobe White, like they've got some players, but like we know in this league, if you don't have a top 10 guy or a couple of top 20 guys, you're probably still going to be somewhere stuck in the middle. And as good as some of the players they have are, and are fun and entertaining, and they can win some games and they can compete, they don't have the guy. They still don't have the guy. So there's only a couple ways to get that guy. And the Bulls have decided not to use one of those tools, which is being a really bad team that's high in the lottery. They've just opted out of that entirely for so long. And now the NBA is going to institute more anti-tanking rules. So the Bulls may have missed their window to actually try to game the system the way that the other teams have. Oops.
Sorry. Chicago, great town, though.
I'm sorry, Andrew. That was a really depressing Christmas response for you.
And to be fair, Andrew knew the job was dangerous when he took it. Yo, I don't know, Cubs fan, Sox fan, I don't know how they're doing, but hey,
You're wearing a Sox hat today, Logan. What was that?
I am, but it's more just because like it's cool, some West Coast shit.
All right. You didn't know Andrew was riding us today?
No, I don't. I don't be looking at the. I like to get surprised by the questions and then just going off vibes off that one. Anyways, we've given you guys an hour and 10 minutes. I am going to lay down because I am messing. I don't know. Let me start that over. All right, that has been another edition of Real Ones. I am Logan Murdock. I am going to go enjoy my holiday. That is Howard motherfucking Beck. He is also going to enjoy his holiday, his very cold holiday. If you want great mailbags like this, make sure you email realonesmailbag@gmail.com, realonesmailbag@gmail.com, realonesmailbag@gmail.com. I'm going to miss you and Raja on Friday, but it's going to be a dope show. Beck and Raja on Friday. Make sure you tap in with them. Maybe you'll win We're One of the Week. We'll see. Tap in. All the shits. Bye. Must be 21 years and older and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with the Kansas Star Casino. For 18 and older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rghelp.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.